9 attitudes of a person who only uses you and doesn't care about you. Stoic secrets. In today's fast-paced world, we all seek meaningful connections, whether in personal relationships, friendships, or professional environments. We naturally desire mutual respect, care, and a sense of shared purpose. However, in the midst of this pursuit, we sometimes encounter individuals who seem to be taking more than they're giving, people who use you for their own benefit without ever truly investing in you. These individuals can be hard to spot, as we often hope for the best in others, thinking that everyone has good intentions. But the reality is, some people subtly manipulate and exploit those around them, leaving you emotionally drained, unappreciated, and betrayed. In this video, we'll delve into 9 attitudes of a person who only uses you and doesn't care about you, behaviors you might miss if you're not paying attention. By understanding these signs, you can protect your peace and start building more authentic, balanced relationships. With insights drawn from Stoic secrets, we'll explore how practices like self-respect, emotional control, and boundary setting can empower you to navigate these situations with wisdom. Don't let these toxic dynamics undermine your well-being. It's time to take control and safeguard your emotional health. Number 1. No interest in your life. In relationships, whether personal or professional, one of the most glaring signs that someone might be using you is their complete lack of interest in your life. A person who genuinely cares will ask about your day, your dreams, and your challenges. They'll listen and engage with empathy, showing that your feelings matter. But when someone only wants to use you, they rarely show any curiosity about your life. The conversations often revolve around them, their achievements, desires, and concerns, while yours are ignored or dismissed. This leaves you feeling invisible, as though your voice is unimportant unless it serves their agenda. You become more of an accessory to their narrative, a sounding board for their problems. Have you ever noticed that when you share something important, the conversation quickly shifts back to them? That's a sign of imbalance, where you're just a tool in their life rather than a true partner or friend. Recognizing this imbalance is crucial, as it shows that their emotional investment is one-sided. The Stoic secret here is that relationships should be mutual. If the energy isn't being shared, it's time to reassess whether the relationship is truly serving your well-being. Another troubling sign of someone using you is their tendency to take without giving. Think about times when you've given your time, energy, or emotional support, only to receive nothing in return. No kindness, no help, no genuine care. It's exhausting. In these situations, you may feel like a resource they tap into without ever reciprocating. This creates an emotional imbalance that drains you. They might ask for your help, but when you need support, they're nowhere to be found. This is not a relationship, it's an extraction. Recognizing this and setting boundaries is essential for your emotional health. Have you ever been in a situation where you were always the one giving, but no one offered anything in return? How did it affect you? The Stoic secret here is understanding that relationships are about balance. Both people should contribute to each other's growth, not just one person taking everything. People who only use you also tend to avoid emotional vulnerability. They may keep their walls up, sharing only when it suits them or when they want sympathy, but rarely opening up in a meaningful way. They don't let you in or trust you enough to share their struggles. This creates a one-sided emotional dynamic where you're the one giving emotional support, but they're not reciprocating. This lack of emotional reciprocity is a sign that the relationship is imbalanced. Think about your relationships. Have you ever felt like you were always the one offering emotional support, but never receiving the same in return. The Stoic secret here is protecting your emotional energy by being discerning about who you share your vulnerability with. Healthy relationships are built on trust, openness, and emotional exchange. Another frustrating behavior of someone who uses you is taking credit for your successes while not acknowledging your contributions. They may bask in the glory of your hard work, claiming your achievements as their own or using them to further their own agenda. It's frustrating, as it feels like they're only interested in you when they can benefit from your work. This kind of behavior is dismissive of your efforts. The Stoic secret here is to remember that your worth is not tied to the recognition of others. True self-worth comes from knowing your value, regardless of whether others acknowledge it. Have you ever had someone take credit for your work? How did it affect you? The lesson here is that while others may overlook or misuse your efforts, your value remains unchanged. In all these situations, the key lesson is recognizing the imbalances in relationships and taking action to protect your well-being. Relationships should be reciprocal, based on mutual care and respect. The Stoic secrets are clear. Invest in relationships that nurture you, where both parties contribute to each other's growth. If someone is using you, it's essential to recognize it early and set boundaries that protect your emotional health. You deserve relationships that value you and offer the same care and attention you give. By recognizing these signs and applying Stoic wisdom, you can avoid one-sided relationships and focus on those that truly add value to your life. So ask yourself, are your relationships built on mutual care, or are you the one doing all the giving? It's time to set boundaries that protect your emotional energy and focus on relationships that truly matter. Number 2. Selective availability. One of the most subtle yet insidious signs that someone is using you without truly caring about you is their selective availability. This term refers to individuals who are present in your life only when it benefits them, showing up when they need something from you, but vanishing when it's your turn to ask for support. You may find yourself constantly giving, offering your time, your emotional energy, and even making sacrifices for them without a second thought, only to be met with indifference when you need a fraction of the same in return. It's a soul-crushing experience to feel like you're pouring your heart and energy into someone who does not reciprocate. When someone's presence is so fleeting and self-serving, it's like trying to fill an endless void, giving and giving but receiving very little, if anything, in return. This behavior reveals the true nature of the relationship. It's built on a one-sided dynamic where your needs take a backseat to theirs. In such relationships, you're left feeling drained, unappreciated, and emotionally exhausted, while the other person takes advantage of your availability and care. A Stoic understanding of reciprocity teaches us that true relationships are rooted in mutual respect and fairness. Marcus Aurelius, a prominent Stoic philosopher, wisely reminds us, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." In other words, be the kind of person who brings genuine value to others, and in turn surround yourself with people who do the same. True friendship and partnerships are not transactional. They should be grounded in mutual care, trust, and the willingness to support one another in times of need. However, when you're involved with someone who practices selective availability, the emotional imbalance becomes glaring. These individuals come to you when they want something, but when the tables are turned and you need support, they vanish into thin air. This imbalance can take a toll on your emotional health, leaving you feeling isolated, undervalued, and questioning whether your efforts are even recognized. In today's world, where demands on our time and energy are ever increasing, and we're constantly surrounded by distractions, it becomes even more crucial to recognize and avoid toxic relationships. People who only show up when it benefits them often don't truly see you as an individual with your own needs and feelings. Rather, they view you as a tool to fulfill their own desires. In such cases, you're nothing more than a means to an end, and once they've gotten what they need, you're discarded without a second thought. From a Stoic perspective, it's vital to be discerning about who we allow to occupy our emotional space. True relationships should be founded on authenticity and mutual respect, not on the ability to take without giving in return. When confronted with selective availability, it is essential to establish firm boundaries. The Stoic mindset teaches us that our emotional well-being is in our hands. We can choose how to respond to others and what we allow in our lives. As Epictetus, another great Stoic philosopher, said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." By recognizing that you deserve more than just the occasional crumbs of someone's attention, you can take back control of your emotional energy. Establishing boundaries allows you to preserve your inner peace, preventing others from draining you dry. It also helps you set clear expectations for those around you. If they want to be in your life, they need to offer something more than just their presence when it benefits them. By practicing modern Stoicism, you free yourself from the exhausting cycle of seeking validation from people who will never reciprocate your efforts. Instead of constantly hoping for change or recognition, you learn to look inward for fulfillment and recognize that true emotional satisfaction comes from balanced, healthy relationships. As you let go of toxic dynamics, you open the door to more genuine connections, relationships where both sides contribute, invest, and care for each other equally. This approach not only helps you build stronger bonds, but also protects your emotional energy, ensuring that you're surrounded by people who truly value you. By embracing this Stoic perspective, you can create a life that is filled with meaningful connections, personal growth, and peace. Number 3. No genuine listening or care. One of the most revealing signs that someone is using you rather than genuinely caring about you is their lack of genuine listening and empathy. Authentic care is not merely about hearing words. It's about understanding the underlying emotions, showing concern, and responding thoughtfully. When someone values you, they will make an effort to truly listen, to grasp not just the content of what you're saying, but the emotional essence behind your words. They'll show empathy, compassion, and a desire to support you, not just when it's convenient for them, but as a steady, consistent presence in your life. A relationship built on this kind of genuine communication fosters a deep emotional connection where both individuals feel seen, heard, and respected. However, when someone is primarily concerned with their own needs, their listening skills falter. Conversations with them tend to feel hollow. They might engage with you, but only when it aligns with their agenda. Their attention is often scattered, as they only truly listen when it benefits them in some way. If you're sharing something personal or vulnerable, they may respond with a brief, superficial comment, or worse, completely ignore your feelings. Instead of engaging with your experience, they redirect the conversation back to themselves, offering no empathy or support for what you're going through. It's as if your words are falling on deaf ears, and your emotional needs are brushed aside. You may feel like you're talking to a wall, your feelings completely disregarded as they focus on their own thoughts, concerns, and desires. This dynamic is an indication that you are not truly valued. You're simply a tool for them to use when necessary, providing them with validation or attention, but receiving nothing of substance in return. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." When you recognize the patterns of someone who is using you, you can reclaim your inner strength. Modern life, particularly in the age of social media and brief, often shallow interactions, makes it easier than ever to fall into relationships that lack depth. Many people are more interested in hearing their own voices or seeking validation than in truly listening to others. This is where modern Stoicism becomes particularly valuable. The practice of focusing on what is within your control, your thoughts, reactions, and emotional energy, empowers you to navigate these relationships with greater clarity. You can recognize when someone is only engaging with you for selfish reasons and, rather than getting caught up in the cycle of frustration or hurt, choose to detach from them emotionally. In such relationships, the lack of genuine listening and emotional exchange is a clear warning sign. When someone listens only to turn the conversation back to themselves, or when they ignore your emotional needs entirely, they demonstrate a deep absence of empathy. Empathy is a cornerstone of meaningful relationships, and without it, the connection is shallow at best. The absence of mutual listening is a red flag that you are not truly valued. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, where both parties feel heard, understood, and cared for. If you find yourself constantly adjusting your words or emotions to fit someone else's narrative, or if your personal experiences are dismissed in favor of their own, it's time to step back and reassess. A healthy relationship should nurture your growth, not drain your energy. Modern Stoicism teaches us that peace and happiness are rooted in how we respond to situations, not in the situations themselves. By embracing Stoic principles, you learn to control where you invest your emotional energy. Just as the Stoics taught the importance of focusing on what is within our control, you can apply this wisdom to your relationships. If someone is not treating you with respect, if they are only interested in using you for their own needs without offering genuine care in return, you have the power to protect your peace by disengaging from that dynamic. Relationships are meant to be sources of mutual support and understanding, not one-sided exchanges. If you find yourself in a relationship where your emotional needs are being ignored, or where you're constantly serving someone else's agenda, it's crucial to reassess that relationship. As the Stoics believed, we have the power to choose where to direct our attention, and in doing so, we can safeguard our mental and emotional well-being. By doing so, you not only protect your peace, but also make space for the relationships that genuinely nurture and support you. Number 4. Guilt manipulation. In our relationships, it's crucial to recognize when someone is using you for their own benefit without genuinely caring for you. One of the most manipulative tactics people use is guilt manipulation, a subtle strategy designed to make you feel responsible for their emotions or actions. This tactic works because guilt is a powerful emotion that can cloud your judgment and lead you to make decisions you wouldn't otherwise. For example, someone might say, "If you really cared about me, you would do this for me." Or, "I've done so much for you, the least you could do is return the favor." These phrases may seem harmless, but they are designed to make you feel selfish or ungrateful for not meeting their demands. Over time, this tactic chips away at your sense of autonomy, making you feel like you owe the other person, even when you don't. The more you give in, the more they manipulate your actions, and soon your decisions are based on their needs, not your own. Guilt manipulation thrives when a person uses your empathy against you, often making you feel obligated to meet their demands. For instance, if you refuse to help them, they might remind you of past favors they've done for you, trying to make you feel guilty for not reciprocating. This kind of manipulation can lead to emotional exhaustion and leave you feeling trapped in a cycle of unbalanced exchanges. The real question is, how much should you sacrifice for someone else's happiness, especially when it leaves you drained and unappreciated. Take the story of Jason, a young professional who worked hard to gain the respect of his colleagues. One colleague, Sarah, initially appeared supportive, offering praise and encouragement. However, as time went on, Sarah started subtly guilt-tripping Jason whenever she needed help, saying things like, "I've covered for you before, now it's your turn." Jason, wanting to be seen as helpful and supportive, complied each time. But as Sarah's requests grew more frequent, Jason began to feel the weight of her expectations. He started to dread his interactions with her, knowing they would end with him feeling guilty for not helping. It soon became clear that Sarah wasn't a friend. She was using him to further her own needs without offering any support in return. At this point, Jason made a crucial decision: to stop feeling guilty for putting his own needs first. This was a turning point for him, allowing him to recognize the manipulation and set boundaries. He learned that it's okay to say no and to prioritize his emotional well-being. It's a reminder that setting boundaries isn't selfish, but necessary for a balanced relationship. This story illustrates a key Stoic secret: you are not responsible for someone else's happiness or well-being. Guilt manipulation is often a tool used by people who view others as means to an end. As a Stoic, it's vital to protect your peace of mind and autonomy. Recognizing when someone is taking advantage of your kindness allows you to navigate these situations with wisdom. Genuine relationships are based on mutual respect, not on one person constantly demanding more while offering little in return. We all deserve relationships that are balanced and supportive. If you're constantly feeling guilty or manipulated, something isn't right. Recognizing these patterns early is key to protecting your emotional well-being. Stoic secrets teach us that we can only control our actions and emotions. By setting healthy boundaries, understanding our worth, and refusing to be manipulated, we can build stronger, more meaningful connections based on mutual respect. So, the next time someone tries to guilt-trip you, ask yourself, are they truly looking out for you, or are they using you for their own gain? By answering honestly, you'll be able to navigate relationships with greater clarity and wisdom. If you've made it this far, you're beginning to understand the importance of protecting yourself in relationships. Leave a comment with the phrase, "End guilt manipulation, set strong boundaries," to show your commitment to safeguarding your autonomy and mental well-being. This journey of self-discovery and growth is just beginning, and you absolutely deserve healthy and respectful relationships. Number 5. Persistent disrespect. In any meaningful relationship, respect is the cornerstone that holds the connection together. But with someone who only uses you, respect becomes a rare commodity. Such individuals will continuously disregard your time, feelings, and needs, treating you more like a convenience than a priority. They may cancel plans at the last minute without a second thought, show up late without apology, or make significant decisions that directly affect you without considering the consequences. This persistent lack of respect can slowly wear you down emotionally, as it sends a clear message that your time and well-being are inconsequential to them. As Seneca wisely said, "Respect is not given, it is earned through our actions." When you allow this behavior to persist, without drawing firm boundaries, it silently communicates to them that such treatment is acceptable, reinforcing their disregard for you. Over time, this becomes more than just a minor annoyance. It chips away at your sense of self-worth. This dynamic fosters an unhealthy environment where your needs are constantly devalued, and the relationship turns into a toxic, one-sided affair. In modern Stoicism, we are reminded that the way we allow others to treat us reflects the respect we hold for ourselves. A Stoic would say that, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. If we tolerate disrespect, we are not truly exercising control over our own lives or setting the standard for how we deserve to be treated. Instead, we are accepting the negative behavior of others, which weakens our inner peace and undermines the integrity of the relationship. A healthy relationship is grounded in mutual respect, where both parties value each other's time, emotions, and boundaries. When one party disrespects the other consistently, the balance is disrupted and the connection becomes inherently imbalanced. Just as a healthy tree cannot grow in rocky soil, a healthy relationship cannot thrive where respect is absent. Think about a scenario where someone continually cancels plans with you last minute. Each time they offer no sincere apology, nor do they make any effort to make amends. After a while, you start to feel like your time doesn't matter and your emotions are irrelevant. You may even start to question your own worth, wondering if you deserve to be treated better. The key here is understanding that your time is valuable. When someone constantly disrespects it, it is crucial to recognize that your emotional energy is equally precious. In these situations, modern Stoicism teaches us the importance of maintaining composure and perspective. We must understand that our worth is not tied to the actions of others. Instead, it is rooted in our own ability to uphold our values and maintain healthy boundaries. As Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This wisdom reminds us that while we cannot control the actions of others, we can control how we respond. Therefore, when faced with persistent disrespect, it is essential to stand firm and demand the respect that you deserve. Boundaries, much like walls, must be established to protect your emotional well-being. By not allowing others to continuously disregard your time and feelings, you reclaim the power to cultivate relationships that are grounded in mutual respect, not in one-sided manipulation. In modern life, it is all too easy to get caught up in relationships where we compromise our values, hoping to keep the peace or avoid confrontation. But in doing so, we surrender our self-respect and contribute to our own emotional exhaustion. This is why modern Stoicism is so crucial today, because it encourages us to act with integrity, to prioritize our emotional health, and to recognize when it's time to let go of relationships that drain us. Remember, it is not just about standing up for yourself in one moment, but creating a life where your time and energy are valued by those around you. Respect is a currency that should be exchanged equally, and when it is not, the relationship becomes unbalanced, leaving you to pay the price. Number 6. Superficial bonding. In today's fast-paced world, superficial bonding has become a common yet deeply frustrating experience in relationships, one that many people encounter without fully realizing its implications. This behavior, while subtle, can reveal much about someone's intentions. A person who is using you for their own gain will often engage with you on a surface level, offering a facade of warmth and friendliness, but steering clear of any real emotional depth or intimacy. They may seem eager to converse and display interest, but when it comes to opening up or discussing personal matters, they remain emotionally distant. Vulnerable conversations are quickly avoided or deflected, leaving no room for trust to develop. This creates an imbalance where the relationship feels hollow, even though it may appear functional on the outside. As the Roman Stoic Epictetus wisely stated, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." This notion can be applied to relationships too. The value of a relationship is not in its quantity or outward appearances, but in the genuine connection and mutual understanding that it fosters. When someone only engages with you at a surface level, They reveal their reluctance to delve deeper into the authenticity of the connection. They are, in essence, maintaining a relationship that is convenient for them, but emotionally empty for you. Think of the countless interactions you might have where, despite knowing someone for years, each conversation feels like the first one. There's a sense that you're always on the periphery, never quite welcomed into their inner circle, never given the privilege of their vulnerabilities. These are the types of relationships that often leave you feeling emotionally unfulfilled and disconnected. Even when you try to be open and share your thoughts or struggles, the response is typically a change of topic, a quick shift in direction, or a subtle avoidance of anything too personal. In modern life, we see this dynamic play out not only in personal relationships, but also in professional settings. The workplace is filled with individuals who may appear friendly, but are more focused on their own agendas than fostering genuine connections. They may be using you for your skills, your network, or your resources, but when it comes to supporting you emotionally or offering true camaraderie, they remain distant and self-serving. This superficial bonding can be deeply isolating, leaving you questioning the sincerity of the connections around you. It's important to recognize this behavior early, as it prevents the development of a meaningful, fulfilling relationship. In modern Stoicism, the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius comes into play here. Don't hanker after what you don't have. Instead, teach yourself to be content with what you do have. This teaches us that we should seek quality over quantity in our relationships. We don't need a network of superficial acquaintances. What we need is one or two individuals who genuinely care, who are willing to engage with us on a deeper, more meaningful level. To avoid being trapped in such hollow relationships, it's crucial to set boundaries. Recognize when you're giving more emotionally than you're receiving, and be prepared to pull back. True relationships require vulnerability and openness, something a superficial connection will never offer. While modern Stoicism encourages us to remain calm and balanced, it also teaches the value of self-awareness. Don't allow yourself to invest emotionally in a relationship that isn't reciprocated. If someone is keeping you at arm's length, it's essential to acknowledge that the bond is not balanced, and the emotional energy you're pouring into it may be better spent elsewhere. Trust is the cornerstone of any meaningful relationship, and without it, you're merely navigating a lonely path with no destination in sight. Thus, be mindful of superficial bonds, as they can drain you emotionally, leaving you adrift in a sea of hollow exchanges, unable to form the deep connections that enrich our lives. Number 7. Absent in key moments. One of the most telling signs that someone might be using you rather than genuinely caring about you is their absence during the most critical moments of your life. Think about the times when you've faced hardship, whether it's an illness, personal loss, or emotional turmoil. In these moments, a true friend or partner will show up, offering support and comfort. But when someone is using you, they will be nowhere to be found. They may offer you a few hollow words of sympathy, but their actions speak louder than their words. The true test of a relationship comes not in times of ease, but in moments of struggle. Someone who truly cares will be there for you when you need them the most. However, a person who only wants to use you will avoid any meaningful engagement during these times, leaving you to face your challenges alone. Imagine a scenario where you lose a loved one, and the person you thought was close to you never reaches out to check on you. When they do, their words are brief, insincere, and often centered on themselves. How would that make you feel? It's not just a momentary disappointment. It can be emotionally devastating. It exposes the one-sidedness of the relationship, where the other person's involvement only matters when it's convenient for them, rather than when you truly need support. This is a clear indication that they don't care about you as a person, but rather see you as a means to an end when it benefits them. Reflect on your own life. Have you ever been in a situation where you needed someone to be there for you, but instead they were absent or gave you only the bare minimum? How did that impact you emotionally? The Stoic secret here is simple. Relationships, whether personal or professional, should be mutual. It's essential to recognize the value of emotional reciprocity in your connections. If someone is only present when it serves them, they are not offering you the true support a healthy relationship demands. It is okay to distance yourself from those who only show up when it's convenient for them. You deserve more than that. By understanding this dynamic, you protect your own well-being, which is critical to living a fulfilled life. A great modern story that illustrates this dynamic involves a man named John. John had always been the one to support his colleague Tom through tough times. Whenever Tom faced difficulties at work, John was the first to lend a hand, offering advice, emotional support, and even helping Tom with projects. However, when John faced a personal crisis, needing a reliable friend to talk to and support him, Tom was nowhere to be found. Tom sent a quick text offering thoughts and prayers, but nothing more. As the days went on, Tom's responses became even more distant, and John realized that their relationship had been one-sided all along. Tom had only been around when it benefited him, but when the tables were turned, Tom was absent when John needed him the most. This realization was painful for John, but it gave him clarity. He understood that real relationships are built on mutual care, where both parties show up for each other in times of need, not just in moments of convenience. So what do you do when you recognize this pattern in your relationships? How can you apply the Stoic secrets in your own life? It's about being discerning with your time and energy. Recognize when a relationship is imbalanced, and don't be afraid to set boundaries. True friendship and partnership are built on mutual support, respect, and emotional investment. The key takeaway here is this: relationships that don't show up for you in your hardest moments are relationships that aren't worth your energy. Recognizing this and taking action to protect your emotional well-being is crucial. As you move forward, remember that the Stoic path encourages you to focus on what you can control, your own actions, your own peace of mind, and the relationships you choose to nurture. If someone is absent during your hardest times, it might be time to reevaluate their place in your life. Relationships should not drain you. They should lift you up and offer support when it matters the most. Number 8. Inconsistent affection. In any healthy relationship, affection is a constant nurturing force that builds trust and strengthens bonds. However, when someone is using you, affection becomes erratic and self-serving. These individuals offer warmth and attention only when it benefits them, quickly withdrawing it once they've gotten what they want. This creates an emotional roller coaster, leaving you uncertain of where you stand in the relationship. You may find yourself constantly trying to please them, only to feel abandoned when your needs arise. Such behavior fosters insecurity, as their affection feels conditional and tied to your ability to fulfill their desires. In today's world, where stability and clarity in relationships are often sought, this emotional instability can be especially disorienting. It's a form of emotional manipulation, where affection is used to create dependency and control. True affection, in contrast, is consistent, rooted in care, trust, and mutual respect. It's not a tool to fulfill one person's needs, but an expression of genuine concern for each other's well-being. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca wisely said, "A friend is someone who gives you the freedom to be yourself." In genuine relationships, affection flows freely, with both people giving and receiving equally. However, in manipulative relationships, one person consistently takes while the other gives, creating an imbalance that leaves you feeling unfulfilled. Recognizing this behavior can help you understand the emotional drain that comes from being involved with someone whose affection is not authentic. Their warmth may only appear when they need something, and when they've fulfilled their desires, their affection disappears. Modern Stoicism teaches us to remain emotionally resilient and not base our happiness on the approval of others. Marcus Aurelius famously stated, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This Stoic wisdom encourages us to take charge of our emotional well-being and not let someone else's inconsistent affection dictate how we feel about ourselves. When affection is conditional, it's crucial to understand that the problem lies not within you, but in the imbalance of the relationship. Realizing this can be liberating, as it shifts your focus from trying to please the other person to nurturing your own emotional health. In relationships where affection is used manipulatively, setting clear boundaries becomes essential. You deserve consistency, respect, and affection that isn't tied to meeting someone else's needs. True affection flows from a foundation of mutual respect, not manipulation. In modern life, where emotional dynamics often feel transactional, it's important to recognize and avoid relationships that drain you. Seek out connections where affection is freely given, not based on what you can provide. Practicing modern Stoicism helps you detach from toxic patterns and build relationships rooted in authenticity and care. By doing so, you create deeper, more fulfilling connections where affection is stable and genuine, nourishing rather than depleting you. As you grow more aware of how affection is used in your relationships, you'll gain the clarity needed to make choices that protect your emotional well-being and align with your true values. Congratulations on recognizing the importance of genuine affection in relationships. If you're learning to build connections based on respect and consistency, leave a comment with the slogan, "True Affection, Lasting Connections," to let us know you're applying these Stoic principles. Keep following along. Your journey toward healthier relationships is just beginning. Number 9. Putting you in harmful situations. One of the most telling signs that someone is using you rather than truly caring about you is when they consistently place you in situations that benefit them, but harm you. This is a clear and manipulative tactic where the person demands you sacrifice your time, energy, or well-being, all for their personal gain. These situations often come with a sense of urgency or importance, making it difficult to say no without feeling guilty. Over time, you may begin to notice a pattern where your own needs and priorities are consistently pushed aside to accommodate theirs, leaving you exhausted, frustrated, and resentful. As the dynamic unfolds, you might feel as though you are continually compromising while they exploit your generosity without ever offering anything in return. This sense of imbalance creates a toxic environment in which you feel used rather than valued. You start to realize that you are being treated as a means to an end, someone who is only valued for what they can provide, not for who they are. Modern life, especially with the pressure of professional and social obligations, makes these dynamics even more prevalent. In the workplace or in personal relationships, you might find that people constantly ask for your help or time, but when it's your turn to ask for support, they are absent or indifferent. You might cancel plans with friends to assist them, only to find that they're not available when you need them most. This one-sidedness is a strong indicator of someone using you. As Marcus Aurelius wisely stated, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." It's a call to preserve your time and energy for what truly matters, relationships that are reciprocal and genuine. It's essential to recognize these patterns early, as they can have long-term emotional consequences. In relationships that are truly caring, mutual support is key. It's not just about what you can do for the other person, but about a balanced exchange where both parties give and receive in equal measure. When someone continually places you in compromising situations where your needs are overlooked, it's a clear sign that the relationship is not built on mutual respect. You may notice that this dynamic leaves you emotionally drained, as you constantly put others before yourself, leaving little room for your own self-care or happiness. The practice of modern Stoicism encourages us to recognize that our time and energy are finite resources. It teaches us to carefully consider where we direct our focus and how we invest ourselves emotionally. As the Stoics believed, we have control over our reactions, but not over the actions of others. When someone is taking advantage of your kindness or generosity, it's vital to assess whether this relationship is worth maintaining. Overextending yourself for someone who consistently places their own needs above yours leads to resentment and emotional burnout. In such situations, it is important to evaluate your personal boundaries and practice self-respect. Stoic principles teach us that we are not obligated to constantly sacrifice our well-being for others, especially when they show no reciprocal concern. When you feel as though you are being used or taken for granted, it is a sign that something needs to change. Relationships should enrich your life, not drain it. As Epictetus famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Recognizing when a relationship is one-sided allows you to regain control over your own life and well-being. In this way, modern Stoicism is not just about accepting life's challenges, but also about consciously choosing the people and situations you allow to affect your peace of mind. A healthy relationship, whether personal or professional, should provide mutual support, respect, and understanding. If you find yourself consistently being placed in situations that harm you, it's time to reflect on whether this person truly values you or if they are simply using you for their own gain. The key is to identify these dynamics early, protect your time and energy, and ensure that the relationships you invest in are grounded in fairness and reciprocity. By embracing the principles of modern Stoicism, you can maintain your peace, focus on what truly matters, and step away from relationships that no longer serve your emotional well-being. In conclusion, people who only use you and don't care about you will consistently show negative attitudes and exploit the relationship for their own benefit. They pay no attention to your emotions or needs, focusing solely on satisfying their own interests. Recognizing these signs early will help you protect yourself from toxic relationships. How to protect yourself? But don't worry, because you can absolutely protect yourself and build healthier relationships. Next, we'll explore effective ways to safeguard yourself from such harmful connections. Let's dive into how you can establish strong boundaries and protect your mental well-being in the next section. Number 1. Establishing clear boundaries. In the complex web of relationships, it's crucial to recognize when someone is taking advantage of you. One of the most essential tools you can develop to protect yourself from being used is the ability to set clear boundaries. Boundaries are the invisible lines we draw in our interactions with others, determining what is acceptable behavior and what is not. Think of them as your personal shield, guarding your time, energy, and emotional well-being. Without these boundaries, you open yourself up to manipulation, where others may ask more of you than you're willing or able to give, leaving you drained and unfulfilled. Setting boundaries is not about being rude or selfish, it's about maintaining your own sense of self-respect and ensuring that your needs are respected in return. It's crucial to remember that saying no is not a weakness. It's a necessary skill to preserve your mental and emotional health. Imagine a friend asking for yet another favor, even though they've already taken up much of your time. You know deep down that helping them again would stretch you too thin, yet you hesitate to say no, worried that you might disappoint them. This is where clear boundaries come in. By politely but firmly declining requests that go beyond your comfort zone, you make it clear that your time and energy are valuable. This action helps prevent others from overstepping their limits and reminds them of your worth. Setting boundaries doesn't just protect you, it also teaches others how to treat you, ensuring your relationships are based on mutual respect rather than exploitation. Take, for example, the story of Emily, a woman who worked in a busy marketing department. Her colleague Mark often asked her to take on extra tasks, even though he knew she already had a full plate. At first, Emily didn't want to say no. She wanted to be seen as a team player and feared letting Mark down. But over time, the constant requests began to weigh on her. She felt like she was always giving but never receiving, and her own work started to suffer. Emily realized that the constant pressure was affecting her well-being and mental health. So, one day, when Mark asked her to take on yet another project, Emily took a deep breath and said, "I'm sorry, but I can't take on any more tasks right now. I have my hands full with what I'm already working on." She said it firmly but kindly. Surprisingly, Mark respected her decision, and Emily felt a huge sense of relief. This small but powerful act of setting a boundary helped her regain control over her time and energy. It also set the tone for healthier, more balanced interactions with her colleagues. This story offers a valuable lesson. By setting clear boundaries, you not only protect your well-being, but also send a message that you deserve respect. And that's a key Stoic secret. We can't control what others do, but we can control how we respond. In relationships, it's vital to learn how to say no without guilt, and by doing so, you teach others how to treat you. Boundaries are not a form of rejection. They are a declaration of self-respect. How much time and energy are you willing to give to others, especially when it takes a toll on your own well-being? Are you sacrificing your peace for the sake of someone else's comfort? Reflect on your own boundaries and the times you've given in to demands that weren't in your best interest. If you find yourself constantly overextended, it's time to reassert control. Setting boundaries might feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you're not used to saying no, but it's a crucial skill that will serve you throughout your life. Healthy boundaries will help you navigate relationships with greater ease, ensuring that they are grounded in mutual respect and understanding. They also remind you that you don't have to constantly prove your worth to others by overextending yourself. When you uphold your boundaries, you protect your energy, focus on what truly matters, and show others that your time is valuable. Stoic secrets teach us that self-respect is the foundation of healthy, balanced relationships, and setting boundaries is one of the most powerful ways to protect that respect. As you practice this skill, you'll begin to see that saying no doesn't make you less caring or less kind. It makes you more in control of your life and more intentional in your relationships. Number 2. Communicate to avoid manipulation. In any relationship, communication serves as the shield that protects us from manipulation and emotional exploitation. When someone seeks to use you, they often resort to subtle tactics, guilt-tripping, pressuring, or emotionally coercing you into actions that benefit them without regard for your needs or well-being. Recognizing these tactics is the first step to safeguarding your emotional health. As modern Stoicism teaches, the greater the difficulty, the more glory in surmounting it. Skillful pilots gain their reputation from storms and tempests. Just as a skilled pilot navigates through a storm with precision, we must navigate manipulative behavior with clarity and confidence. When you feel pressured or manipulated, it's important to communicate your boundaries directly and assertively, without becoming defensive or confrontational. Clear communication is the bedrock of healthy relationships and can prevent you from falling into unhealthy patterns of manipulation. By calmly addressing the issue, you assert your needs while ensuring the other person understands that their tactics are not acceptable. In a world where emotional manipulation can be subtle, modern Stoicism encourages us to be firm in our responses and not let others dictate the course of our actions based on guilt or pressure. This approach not only preserves your sense of self, but also promotes more honest and open dialogue. As Seneca wisely remarked, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Much of the stress caused by manipulation arises from our own assumptions and fears. By communicating clearly and without anxiety, we minimize the power that others' behavior has over us. Take, for instance, a scenario where someone attempts to guilt-trip you into doing something that doesn't align with your values or priorities. Perhaps they say something like, "You never help me when I need it," or "I always do this for you. Can't you return the favor?" Instead of succumbing to the emotional pressure, calmly acknowledge their perspective, but make it clear that you must prioritize your own needs. For example, you might respond with, "I understand where you're coming from, and I value our relationship, but right now I need to focus on my own responsibilities and well-being." By responding in this manner, you avoid being drawn into an emotional battle while asserting your own needs in a respectful and direct way. In doing so, you not only protect your own emotional state, but also model the kind of open and honest communication that fosters healthier, more balanced relationships. Modern Stoicism teaches us that our emotions are within our control, even in the face of manipulation. Rather than reacting impulsively or with resentment, we can approach these situations with calmness and clarity. By communicating directly, we protect our emotional space and refuse to allow others to exploit our vulnerability. This doesn't mean that you need to be rigid or inflexible, but rather that you approach situations with a strong sense of your own boundaries. As Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." When someone tries to manipulate you, it's not their words or actions that harm you, but your own response. By choosing to communicate your boundaries clearly, you regain control over the situation, ensuring that your emotional needs are respected. The more you practice this form of assertive communication, the stronger your ability to avoid falling into toxic dynamics. Over time, you will find that relationships based on respect and clear communication are far more fulfilling and sustainable than those where manipulation and guilt are at play. In modern life, where many of us juggle demanding careers, family responsibilities, and social obligations, it is easy to fall into patterns of people-pleasing and self-sacrifice. We often prioritize the needs of others over our own, hoping to avoid conflict or preserve harmony. However, this can lead to emotional exhaustion and resentment, leaving us vulnerable to manipulation. This is where modern Stoicism offers invaluable guidance by teaching us to recognize and maintain our boundaries with confidence and to communicate our needs clearly and calmly. In doing so, we can foster healthier, more fulfilling relationships that are not built on emotional manipulation, but on mutual respect and understanding. Therefore, the next time you feel someone trying to guilt-trip or manipulate you, remember that you have the power to communicate your needs assertively without fear of conflict. By doing so, you safeguard your emotional well-being and cultivate a more balanced life. To join our community, we would love to hear from you. Comment, "I commit to protecting my boundaries," if you believe in the power of clear communication to avoid manipulation in relationships. Your participation helps us build a strong community and encourages everyone to safeguard their emotional well-being, fostering respect and genuine connections in all relationships. Number 3. Seek support from trusted people. In our interconnected world, relationships are central to our fulfillment, but not all relationships are healthy. Some can drain you emotionally, leaving you feeling lost and confused. A key indicator of a toxic relationship is the gradual erosion of trust and self-esteem. If you find yourself in such a situation, reaching out to trusted friends, family, or a therapist is vital. Their perspective can provide the clarity and guidance you need to understand the situation. Often, when you're deeply involved in a toxic relationship, it's hard to see the full picture. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca wisely said, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. In moments of uncertainty, it's easy to overthink things, unsure of what is real or just imagined. Seeking help from those who are not emotionally involved allows you to separate emotion from fact, grounding you in reality. Talking to someone you trust, such as a close friend, family member, or therapist, can offer both practical advice and emotional validation. Their external perspective can help you recognize unhealthy patterns and manipulative behaviors that you might miss. They remind you that the problem lies not with you, but with the toxic behaviors of the other person. This validation is essential, as it reassures you that your feelings are valid and not a result of your own inadequacy. A good friend can help you identify when you're being gaslighted or manipulated, giving you the confidence to set the boundaries that protect your emotional well-being. Therapists, with their professional expertise, take this support to another level. They don't just listen, they help you develop strategies to cope with the emotional fallout of toxic relationships and teach you how to reinforce your personal boundaries. Therapy is about more than venting. It's about understanding the dynamics at play and learning to detach from unhealthy attachments. Modern Stoicism encourages emotional resilience, and therapy equips you with tools to cultivate it. As Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Therapy can teach you how to manage your emotions, preventing manipulation from taking root. In today's busy world, many people feel isolated, which makes toxic relationships even harder to deal with. Seeking support from those you trust, whether in person or through technology, provides emotional relief and essential guidance for regaining control over your life. It's important to remember that asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. As Marcus Aurelius put it, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." By facing the challenges posed by toxic relationships and seeking support, you strengthen yourself and move forward in your personal growth. Toxic relationships come in many forms: manipulative friendships, controlling family dynamics, or emotionally abusive partnerships. Regardless of the form, the principle is the same. Healing is difficult when surrounded by toxicity. Leaning on trusted individuals provides emotional armor, shielding you from further harm while giving you the strength to set healthy boundaries. Modern Stoicism is especially helpful here, teaching us that peace of mind comes not from the actions of others, but from our ability to manage our reactions and decisions. If you're struggling with a toxic relationship, talking to a trusted friend, counselor, or support group can help you clarify your feelings, strengthen your resolve, and provide direction on how to regain your emotional health. Remember, the path to healing often requires external support. It's a lifeline that helps you see the bigger picture when you're mired in emotional confusion. Seeking help from trusted people is one of the most empowering actions you can take when dealing with toxic relationships. Whether it's friends, family, or professionals, their support can provide the guidance and emotional strength needed to break free from unhealthy patterns. By embracing the principles of modern Stoicism, you learn to focus on what you can control, your reactions and boundaries, while letting go of toxic influences. Protecting your emotional well-being is vital, and sometimes the best way to do that is by reaching out to those who truly care. In conclusion, recognizing the signs of someone who is using you and doesn't truly care is crucial for protecting your emotional well-being. Setting clear boundaries, communicating effectively, and seeking support when needed are essential steps to preserving your peace and establishing healthier relationships. Remember, real connections are built on mutual respect, care, and understanding. You deserve to be surrounded by people who value you for who you are, not just what you can provide. Take charge of your emotional health and don't hesitate to walk away from those who only take from you. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Stoic Secrets for more insightful content. Be sure to turn on notifications so you never miss out on our upcoming videos. Stay strong, stay wise, and take care of yourself.